Bonjour à tous et bienvenue sur Benoît 494 pour ce nouvel épisode de The Dwarves. Donc dans les précédents épisodes, on s'est coltiné une horde d'orques. On a fait la connaissance du jeune nain très dégourdi. Et on a taillé le bout de gras dans une taverne. Donc c'était assez sympa, mais maintenant il faut reprendre notre chemin. Et donc, du coup, on va se diriger vers ce point d'intérêt et ensuite on ira à Wakenstein. Voilà. Alors, par où va-t-on passer? Par là, peut-être? Je ne sais pas. Ça, c'est un camp orc. Torebrook. Donc, on va se diriger par là.
The group isn't overly friendly towards Geralda, and this evening she's sitting once again apart from the others. You ask yourself what you can do to break the ice when you see that she has a file in her hand. The file is wrapped around with silver wire and has a snap lock. The liquid in it is black. Geralda opens the lid and takes a big swig. As she puts down the bottle, a smile flits across her face, followed by a short expression of deep satisfaction. It is the first time that you have seen a positive emotion on the face of the sombre dwarf.
Ok. Si, on va lui demander. Si, on va lui demander. Ça risque de la fâcher, mais on va lui demander quand même. Voilà.
Is that medicine?
No, it's... I don't know either. If I don't drink it, I have a longing for it. It gets stronger and stronger until I can't.
C'est pas un
stand it
médicament,
anymore.
c'est clair.
When I drink it, the longing disappears, and I feel rested and strong.
And when the file's empty?
I don't know. I don't know where I got the drink from, let alone what it is. But if I don't drink it, frackers, give me strength. I think I would go crazy.
Voilà qui est très
or die.
inquiétant.
Geralda plays with the file, lost in her thoughts, as if she were trying to remember where she saw it for the first time.
Ok, donc, on continue notre voyage. Nos persos se soignent petit à petit. On a encore énormément de vivres.
When you enter the pretty little village with its richly ornate houses and its temple to Palandil at its center, you can see an angry mob some distance away. The villagers are hassling a young woman, insulting her and pushing her to the
Qu'est-ce
ground.
qu'elle a bien pu faire pour mériter ça?
A man dressed
Voilà.
richly confronts the woman.
Have you no shame, robbing a temple of Palandil?
The crowd cheers and many vociferously demand that the woman be hanged.
Wow,
You
mollo.
could have helped us, but you didn't. Is that in the spirit of Palandil?
You step out of the crowd and confront the priest.
Ouais, on va lui demander ce qui est
The
arrivé.
villagers grumble, but the priest gives the woman a chance to defend herself.
My name is Tavia. I was forced to flee Tabayin with my family when the perished land began to spread. My husband, we had to leave him behind.
The horror in the woman's eyes gives you a good idea as to what became of her husband.
Le pauvre.
No one accepted us in the north. There are too many refugees and everyone is scared. Queen Way has offered land in Wayen to anyone who will work hard for it. But what should we grow if no one will sell us grain? We offered a fair price, but Father Malin,
She darts a scathing gaze at the priest.
he wanted double the amount.
The priest glances briefly at the angry villagers. Then he replies in a firm voice.
It was a hard winter, and with the increasing frequency of orc attacks, we must think of ourselves first and foremost. Even we cannot help everyone.
The bystanders mutter in agreement.
C'est pas faux non plus, ils ont tous les deux leurs raisons. Enquêter sur cette affaire? Bon,
The
pourquoi pas.
accusations are serious, so let's get to the bottom of the matter to be completely sure.
We have no doubt that she did it.
The priest looks at the villagers standing around him, the lust for blood written in their faces.
On the other hand, Before we do something we can't
Voilà.
undo.
La tuer, c'est facile, mais vous aurez plus de mal à la ramener à la vie.
Search for your evidence. You there, lock this woman up in the guardhouse in the meantime.
The woman is taken into a squat building made of rough blocks of stone. The crowd slowly disbands.
Ok. Alors. On va lui parler.
The priest is lost in thoughts, standing in front of the temple, as if he couldn't decide whether to go in or not.
Que pouvez-vous me dire sur le village?
Here first, the temple or the village?
Ah, a keen eye. The temple is indeed much too big for such a small village. It was built on the foundations of an old stronghold when salt was found nearby. The village has grown over the years in the shadow of the temple. Good people live here, honest and pious children of Pelandil.
He glances at the place where the woman was surrounded.
Why can't we just be left in peace?
Supposing Tavia really did steal the grain and supplies, but only to save her family, would you turn a blind eye?
Pelandil teaches generosity, but that too must have its boundaries. We cannot help everyone. At some point there won't be enough for us.
So, if you had sold the grain, the people of Seaton would have starved?
Maybe not. Not yet. But if we always give everything we have away...
No one is saying always, and no one is saying everything.
The priest shrugs his shoulders apologetically.
Ouais.
He doesn't wish to spoil things with his flock. You nod goodbye, and the priest returns the gesture.
Ok, on va aller voir l'entrepôt.
You enter the village's large storehouse. The ground floor of the two-story building is full of turnips, with large barrels and clay pots.
Ouais, ça va, il a l'air bien plein leur entrepôt quand même, quoi.
Several villagers are carrying out stock-taking. They're being supervised by a weedy man who observes them with a grim expression and writes things on a wax tablet every now and then. Work is in full swing. The man with the wax tablet grumbles now and then in agreement when one of the peasants shouts out a number to him. It shouldn't take too much longer until they finish the inventory.
On va monter au premier étage.
On top of one another on the first floor. They are most likely filled with different kinds of grain and, judging by the omnipresent white dust, flour.
On va inspecter dans la pénombre déjà.
The only area in the storeroom where you can see the floorboards. You hesitate as your boots slip on the floor, as if you're walking on mud.
Tungdil?
The Magister Technicus carefully observes the roof beams above the empty corner. He grabs at a beam and crumbles something between his fingers. You can't make out what it is, so you copy him and feel damp, rotten wood. It's very easy to pull away small pieces.
What are you doing here?
The man with the wax tablet is standing on the stairs. He sounds half angry, half shocked.
No one is allowed in here.
Si, moi je le suis.
Who are you? And what are you doing here if no one is allowed to be here?
I'm allowed to be here. It's my job. I'm the steward of the temple.
Salut Maurice.
My name?
The rain has gotten here. The roof and the floor are damp.
Those savages. It wasn't enough that they steal from us. They had to damage the roof too. That was probably where they got in.
The wood didn't start to rot yesterday, good man.
Yes, ça c'est clair.
His face turns bright red.
And you are the experts on such things, are you?
En quelque sorte, oui.
Here has been leaky for a long time. What would have happened to the grain in the sacks directly underneath? Wouldn't it have turned rotten?
The man wets his lips. His gaze darts around the room.
The roof was fine. I'll have it repaired. And now, get out of here.
The steward angrily blocks off all further attempts at talking to him, and even when you threaten him with Father Malin, it doesn't have the desired effect. The father trusts in him, he says, and he's always been a devout follower. The heavy door of the storehouse closes behind you, and you hear a bolt sliding into place from the inside.
Ok, on va aller au poste de garde.
And before the guards know, Boindil and Boendal have caught them up in a friendly conversation. Shielded from the view of the guards, you exchange a few words with the suspect.
Merci les gars. Ils sont forts ces frangins quand même. Ok. On va lui demander pourquoi elle est revenue au village.
Come back to the village.
I wanted to negotiate with Father Malin for the grain. What else could I do? No sooner had I arrived than they surrounded me and accused
Ouais,
me
donc
of
t'as rien volé.
Where have you taken the grain and supplies?
I don't know anything about grain or supplies. Apart from the fact that we could do with both.
Ouais, en fait, ça a fui.
I'm innocent.
Ça a pourri, ils ont jeté le grain et comme ils pouvaient pas expliquer pourquoi... Du coup, ils ont préféré l'accuser plutôt que de dire que le grain il avait pourri et qu'ils avaient...
Please, I just want to go back to my family. I don't know what happened.
Tungdil.
You feel sympathy towards the woman. You raise your hand to silence Rodario and nod to the woman to continue talking.
We asked for grain and were full of hope when we saw the well-filled granary. But we hadn't reckoned on the malice of the people here.
A slow, ironic clap sounds from behind you. Confused, you turn around to face Rodario.
Bravo, my dear, with tears and everything. Tough luck that a master of the art of acting is present. None of what she said corresponds with the truth, Tungdil. She is lying and trying to deceive us. Not completely talentless for an amateur.
You expect the woman to deny everything.
D'accord.
Her amazement, she spits in
Elle était en train de nous rouler dans la farine et nous on était en train de la croire. Ah, qu'est-ce que je peux être naïf.
The people here have more than they need and my people are starving. Is that fair?
Pourquoi être revenu en fait? C'est ça que je comprends pas.
We didn't steal them. We paid for them. A reasonable price, just not to Father Malin.
You had help.
He promised us 3 dozen sacks of grain. When we opened the sacks in our hideout, we realized that most of the grain was rotten. He thought he'd get away with it.
The woman looks around wearily.
And by the looks of things, he has.
D'accord.
Spit it out. Where are the spoils and your people?
I'd rather die than tell you that.
The woman looks at you determinedly, and neither of you blink.
D'accord.
Morris the steward offered you the grain, didn't he?
What does that matter? I've no proof it was him. And even if I did, if I admit that we have the stuff, I'll be hanging from a tree by this evening and my children will starve.
Ouais, c'est compliqué quand même comme histoire.
Let me go. We bought the grain and the supplies. Perhaps he wasn't allowed to sell it to us. But we paid. And with a little seed we can sow, at least some of us have a chance of surviving the year.
Alors, ce que j'ai peur, c'est que ça conclue la discussion en fait. Donc, on va essayer ça.
No matter how you put it. But perhaps Father Malin will show clemency if you return the grain.
Clemency for me and a death sentence for my family. Never.
Ok.
How can I trust you? You lied.
Who wouldn't do everything to offer their children a future?
C'est vrai, elle a raison.
Lying is the very least.
On va la laisser partir, voilà.
You open the door. The guards jump up, take up their swords, and let their hands sink down as the dwarves against their throats. The woman lays
Aussi
her
rapide
hand
que
on your
l'éclair,
shoulder
les
for a
frangins.
moment as a sign of gratitude before she runs from the guardhouse.
I hope you know what you're doing, scholar.
Rodario's furrowed brow does not give you the feeling you've made an undisputed decision.
Ok.
Namora, find out where she's heading and then rejoin us.
Fergus wants to raise an objection, but before he can think of the right words, Namora has kissed him on the mouth and has disappeared round the next corner. You leave the guardhouse and
Eh ben,
explain
ils
your
sont bien
plan
obéissants
to
quand même
Armand.
ces deux-là.
You expect him to object, but he seems to be satisfied. You assume he'll make you responsible for everything if something goes wrong, and will claim a piece for himself if you are successful.
Oui, et c'est tout? J'ai fait tout ça pour rien? Là, je pige pas.
Like every night in the wilderness, you set up camp and assign the watch. Bavragor takes first watch this evening, while the rest of you sit by a small fire, toasting some bread. You're not particularly surprised that neither Bavragor nor any of the others notice the guest who suddenly appears out of the darkness next to you.
Namora!
Fergus jumps up, and moments later has embraced
Ok, elle est
Octavia.
revenue.
Were you able to find out anything?
She didn't detect me and led me straight to the hideout. I can show you. It's a cave some miles off from the path. Almost 4 dozen people, men, women and children.
You nod. You have tracked down Tavia's hideout.
Ouais, d'accord, et elle se cache où? Donc Giralda, c'est fait. Jordania, lame de feu, intrigue au pied du trône. Ouais, ok. Donc alors ils doivent être là, je pense. On
When
va
you
voir.
enter the strongly fortified mountain village, you see a large group of miners standing around a shaft in heated discussion.
Bah non, ça devait pas être là.
saw him, I swear!
A young man in mining clothes defiantly stares at an older man who is a good head taller than him.
Even if you did, smashing the lift hoist, it would have been better to have not sent the cage down again until we cleared this thing up.
Is there a problem?
The older man, perhaps a foreman, is so angry that he hardly seems to have realized that he's talking to a dwarf.
Mika here says that he saw orcs in the mine, and he smashed the lift hoist to bits. The cage has crashed to the bottom of the shaft. How are we supposed to work now?
Ok, on va leur proposer de les aider avec les réparations.
Can we help you somehow?
Help? Well, we'll have to repair the hoist, and we need a new cage.
The foreman turns to a man next to him for answers. He's just as muscular, with dirty, calloused hands and an angular face.
It will take at least 2 weeks, but we don't need any help, unless you can speed up time.
I'll need 1 day. 2 at the most, if there are problems.
The foreman looks aghast at the Technicus, unsure whether he's joking or not.
1 day? Have you got any idea how...
Fergus is the most talented Magister Technicus in Girdlegard. And anyway, what have you got to lose?
C'est sûr.
Let him help.
Well, as long as he doesn't get in my way,
The worker shrugs his shoulders.
why not?
Non, on va faire ça pour rien. On a plein de provisions.
In return.
Ooh, that's generous.
The
Donc à
foreman
mon avis, ce sera plutôt là le...
He's the sort
Oula,
of person
peut-être.
who doesn't like being indebted to
Je sais pas
others.
trop, la grotte où il se
Fergus
cache.
immediately gets to work examining the hoist. After a few moments, he sends Mika off with a list of tools and spare parts, and explains to you how to build the cage, while he takes care of the hoist's rustic mechanism. After half a day, the cage is operational again, but Fergus is still busy with the hoist. You just hear him muttering.
So far, there is no automatic brake in case the ropes snap, but it shouldn't be too hard to fit one.
Merde, pardon. Une demi-journée plus tard... Ok, installer le système de frein automatique, mieux vaut prévenir que guérir.
Fergus
Voilà.
decides to fit the automatic brake, but it takes more time than expected. Building the hoist from scratch would have been simple, but the upgrade turns out to
Ah
be
zut, ça va nous faire perdre des journées ça.
In the end, it takes 2 days until the lift is operational again. After the work is done, you report to the foreman. A huge grin spreads across the foreman's face. You have just saved him a lot of time and effort.
We can't let you leave empty-handed. Here, at least take some provisions for your journey.
Voilà, de toute façon il nous en donne, c'est bien gentil.
Force against the orcs. I'm sure we can find 10 men who'd be happy to learn from you.
Alors je sais pas si on pourra revenir. Mais j'ai pas envie d'affronter les orques tout de suite. J'aimerais mieux finir la quête précédente. Donc on va quitter le village. Donc ça c'est les orques. Ça c'est rien. On va essayer de retourner par là.
As on the previous evening, Bavragor sits apart from the others. But tonight, he
Ah
waits
non.
you over.
Smeralda, my sister. You want to know what
Bon,
happened,
bah ça va
right?
encore dépasser.
And sits down.
She followed Boindle into battle. We tried to talk her out of it, but she was as unyielding as a mountain. Then came the day when the High Pass was attacked.
Bavragor drinks from his
Et
liquor.
quoi, elle est morte en faisant son devoir, mais c'est bien ça.
Blinded by the frenzy of battle, he
Oh.
thought she was one of the enemy.
D'accord.
We can never forgive him. He killed my sister. Could you?
You inevitably remember the loss of Lot Yonan, Frala, and her children.
Ah ouais, sa frénésie du
You
combat.
remain sitting in silence, each of you deep in thought. Boendal approaches, having either heard you or guessing what you were talking about.
His fierce life forge is a curse. He thought the orcs had robbed him of his love, and the ire came over him. Sometimes he calls her name in his dreams. Oh, he'd never admit it, but he suffers just like Bavragor. He too loved her.
The stonemason doesn't react, so you and Boendal go back to the
Ah
others
là
by
là.
the fire.
Drôle d'histoire. Donc il faut retourner là ou continuer à avancer là? Franchement, j'ai un gros doute. On va retourner là. On va bien voir.
You enter Seaton and take a look round. The priest is lost in thoughts, standing in front of the temple, as if he couldn't decide whether to go in or not.
Ok.
The roof of the granary is leaky. We saw some rotten wooden planks.
Voilà.
Again? Morris only had the roof repaired last summer.
Did he?
Il l'a pas fait.
If he didn't, some of the grain would have got damp and rotten.
Out of the question. Morris would have reported that. He checks the grain once a month and there were no complaints.
The priest has absolutely no doubt in what he is saying, often a sign that someone hasn't thought things over.
We have found
Okay.
the thieves' hideout.
Really? That's welcome news.
With an encouraging nod, the priest of Palandil prompts you to continue.
Ah bon?
We spoke to the people there. It was very revealing.
And
The priest gives you the same look he otherwise uses to reprimand the villagers' minor sins.
Et je l'ai pas trouvé, hein, leur
They say they
planque.
paid
Hein.
Boris to sell supplies and grain to them.
The priest wants to object.
He ripped them off. That would be an explanation as to why Tavia came back this morning, don't you think?
Voilà, il lui a vendu
The
du grain
corpse
pourri.
turning inside the priest's
Oh
head.
purée, il y a encore un
His
point là-bas.
expression
Ah mais si ça se
reveals
trouve
he
c'est
doesn't
là-bas en
want
fait,
to
l'entre
drink.
des voleurs, d'accord.
And what about the grain and the supplies?
Ok. Les provisions étaient cachées et le grain est inutilisable.
The
Oubliez
supplies and
cette
the
affaire.
grain, you won't see any of it again. We were too late.
The priest eyes you in silence, and you look back without batting an eyelid.
I am not sure whether you have earned a reward, Mr. Dwarf.
The priest
Ouais, on s'est
pulls out
débrouillé
a
quand
small
même.
pouch. He counts a few coins into your hand.
Voilà, et donc l'entre des voleurs, c'est tout là-bas en fait. Donc il aurait fallu tout remonter. Bon, on pourrait y aller à la limite. Sinon, bah déjà je vais mettre fin à l'épisode parce que j'ai déjà pas mal dépassé. Et dans le prochain, je pense qu'on ira faire un tour à Torbrook, histoire de purger cette mine de tous ces méchants orques. Voilà. On essaiera de faire ça rapidement et puis on essaiera peut-être aussi d'aller faire un petit tour à l'entre des voleurs. Dans les prochains épisodes, voilà, sur ce, je vous fais tout plein de gros bisous. N'hésitez pas à liker la vidéo. N'hésitez pas à me lâcher des commentaires, hein, ça fait toujours plaisir. Si vous n'êtes pas abonné, pensez à le faire. Et voilà, sur ce, gros bisous et à demain.